Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be starting a new series which will help you create your own resource pack. So this first episode will just be the basics of how to get your right folders and files and everything. So first you're going to want to click Options, Resource Pack, Open Pack Folder. So this will open your folder called Resource Packs, and it will be located in .minecraft, but I use a client, so instead it's here. So these are all the resource packs I have. So we're going to create a new folder called Resource Pack. So then the next thing you're going to want to do, so you can open this folder. So you're going to click this, Control C, then you're actually going to leave the folder, press Windows R, Control V, paste it in, and then this will actually open that again. So with your first folder you have here, you can back out of the resource packs folder, and you're going to want to go to your versions folder, and I actually have to go to my actual .minecraft folder because it's not there. So in your versions folder, find whatever version you're playing. So I was playing 1.19.2, and you'll see this jar file and this JSON file. So we don't actually need this JSON file, so we're just going to right click this and use any unzipping program. I use 7-zip, and click extract to 1.19.2, and it will start exporting everything, so you'll have everything that you'll want to create your resource pack. After it's finally done extracting, which will probably take a while, you will have this folder. Now I'm going to drag it onto my desktop because it's a good place to keep it, because you have to open this every time. So now you can open this folder and you'll have everything. So you can, all of these class files you can delete. However, so click up here and search, or just type pack on your keyboard and you'll get your pack PNG. So you can drag this over with right click. Don't use left click because that will move it. If you right click, you'll get the option to copy it, which is what I'll want to do. So this is your pack logo. I currently opened it in Paint 3D, but you can use any image editing software that you want. So you can make this whatever you want your logo to be. So I'm just gonna add some quick text that says resource pack, I guess. So I am going to make this a bit lower and center it, I guess. Let's choose a Minecraft font. Need to make it a bit smaller. I might change the color to be blue, sure. And there we go. It's a bit weird with that because of the program, but I'm just going to save it. And that's our first texture already done. So the next thing you're going to want to do is find pack.mcmeta. Now I actually can't find it. It should be right around there. If you can't find it in your folder, I'll leave what you need to paste in the description. But for now, I'll just go to another resource pack and copy and paste it in. So now I'm going to open this. So I'm going to open this. It says Minecraft and AI made it. That's just from a resource pack that I was making. So now I'm going to change the description to say tutorial resource pack. For the pack format, I'll show a thing up on screen to tell you what number to put in. Since I'm using 1.19.2, I'll just leave it as 9. So now I can save that and close it. So now back on this folder, if you want to save space on your computer, you can now select everything except for assets and delete it. Okay, so after it's all done deleting, you would want to make sure to open your recycling bin and empty it as well, because it's still stored on my computer. Even though I did delete it, it just gets put in the recycling bin and takes up the same amount of space. So now it's going to fully delete all these files, so I'll see you after that's done. Okay, so it's finally done, fully deleting. So the next thing that most tutorials will tell you to do is just copy over the assets folder, because then it will take longer to load your resource pack than if you just had the files you wanted, because it's trying to load a bunch of textures that aren't even changed. So instead, we'll have our assets folder, so we're going to create a new folder called assets. So by now, if we were to open Minecraft, we can find our resource pack, and there it is. So I'm actually going to activate it. It should take no time at all to load it because I haven't actually changed any textures. And now nothing's changed. So now, whenever you update your resource pack and you want to test it, you should press F3 and T, which will completely reload all your textures. So, as you can see, nothing changed because I never changed anything. Now back in our folders, we can open assets and open assets here as well. If you want to edit the realms textures, there is that, and you can also delete this file here. But I'm just going to do new folder, Minecraft. So we can also delete this as well. Despite it being called a resource pack or texture pack, you can change more than just textures. So you can change text, which are like credits and the end text, post credits, and splashes. So as you can see, these are all of like the yellow text that will show up when you launch your game. So for example, I can say put a new folder text and a new text document, splashes, and I'm going to write subscribe to Elytro YT. So now we can go back to our game and reload our textures. And because I didn't actually change any textures, I only changed the splashes, I'm going to have to leave my world to see the splash, subscribe to Elytro YT, which is very true, you should. Okay, so that was just a quick example of something you can do. But now, so if we look at all this stuff, we can see we have block states, which you probably, if you're a beginner, you might not want to mess with this sort of stuff. You have your font, and if you open this, you can see it's all some random nonsense that even I don't understand. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to do some textures. And so when you open the textures, you'll have all of these options. So most of these you can probably understand what they are, but color map will change the color that foliage and grass is. I'm actually not sure what foliage is. I think it might be leaves, but grass is, the grass. But usually the color map stuff is a bit hard to mess with because you can't really tell which part of the grass is like which biome. And mob effect is like all the status effects, but in the files they're called mob effects. So I'm going to create a block texture. So create a folder called block, and I want to change the TNT. I want to change it to say something else. So I'll copy it and I can open it. So zooming in, we can see it just says TNT. I want to change that, so I'm going to just quickly make it say subscribe, probably. Okay, so I just made it say sub, and I'm going to save this. And I don't actually need to copy over the TNT top and TNT bottom, because I just want to change the side. So now back in the game, we can see if we get a TNT block, it hasn't changed because we need to reload our textures. And now it says sub. So the next thing we're going to look at is animated blocks, like the magma block. If you don't know, the magma block actually has a really subtle animation that you probably don't notice unless you actually look at it. So back in our folders, I'm going to search for magma by just spelling it out. And we can see we have magma.png, but we also have magma.png.mcmeta. So we're going to copy both of these over, and if we open this, we can see its animation. So this is a bit of coding, but we can decide how long each frame of animation lasts. So you can see, so 8, so if I type 20, that's 1 second, so each frame will last for 1 second. So 10, half a second, quarter of a second, and 8 was what was on. Interpolate will mean if I just hop back onto the Minecraft. So you can see it just doesn't just like sort of snap to the next texture, it sort of fades to it. That's what interpolate does. So depending on if you want that or not, true or false. And finally, the frames say 0, 1, 2, and that determines in what order the frames will play in. So as you can see, if I go to my canvas, I can see it's a 16 by 48 texture. So a normal Minecraft texture is 16 by 16. If you do a bit of math, 48 is 3 times 16, so there's 3 frames of animation, hence 0, 1, 2. In here, 0, 1, 2. So let's just paint it all white, and now let's just paint something that will be easy to tell that changes. So I finished my texture, and as you can see, it's sort of like a growing diamond shape. So now we can go on to editing this. So because I had 6 frames of animation, what I'm going to do is make sure that it has all of the frames, which should be 5 because the first one is 0. So I'll save this, and I'll reload my textures, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so I've experienced an error. Let's go find out why that happened. I see, I forgot to put a comma here. Now let's reload the textures again. And there we go, we can see it grow. Wait. Oh no. I've done it wrong. Oh no. Oh, it shifts over. Okay, I guess I'll try to fix that, maybe. Let's find out. Okay, so I was able to fix it. I figured out what I did wrong. And as you can see, it's doing the interpolate thing, where it sort of fades into the next frame. So now I can do a little bit of experimenting with this. The first thing I'm gonna do is make it sort of ping pong, I guess. So I'm gonna put comma, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it will loop back to 0, so it should sort of go back and forth, like shrinking and growing. Okay, and it has done exactly what I wanted it to. So that's an animated texture. So now I'm going to disable the interpolate thing and we'll see what it looks like then. So all I have to do is change the true to false. Reload the textures, and now it looks very bland. But that's kind of what I was asking for. There's one more thing to do with texturing that I want to show you, which is Blockbench. So Blockbench is actually a 3D modeling program. This is some stuff that people have 3D modeled, which is pretty cool. I cannot do this, unfortunately. But we're gonna create a generic model, and we don't have to name it anything, but we're just gonna click confirm. So we're gonna click this button, which will add a cube. We're gonna stretch it out. You can hold Alt to resize in both directions as well. We're going to stretch it out so that all of these say 16. Now we're going to click create texture, make it blank, 16 by 16, make it white, adjust the alpha value, click the tick, confirm, we have our texture. Now we can drag this onto our cube and we can paint it and it will apply and we can see what it looks like in game. And if you want to see the exact colors, you can click this button to turn off shading, or if it was already off, you can click it to turn it on. So, the reason why we're doing this in Blockbench, apart from being able to see it as if it was in-game, is if we hit Control D, we can actually duplicate it and drag it out. So, and Alt L to center a camera around it, and I'm going to duplicate it again, and again. Select all these, duplicate it again, and again. One more time, and if you want to see what it would look like sort of connecting like this, you can do what I just did, which is deleting that cube. So now we can see a sort of tiling effect if we wanted that. So because these are all duplicates of this cube, anything we paint will paint onto them as well. So for example, I'll recreate like the cobblestone texture, I guess. So I actually have this nice gradient thing, which is this button, which does not come with Blockbench, but it's pretty useful, and I'll show you. If you go to File, Plugins, search for gradient and click on available. Nothing there for me because I have it already installed, but there will be an install button there like there will be on any other ones, and when you click it, it'll install it and this button will be there. So now I'm going to completely just paint this that color, and I might actually get a different color. Like, I'm going to generate a gradient with sort of brownish colors, and I'll start painting my cobblestone. So I'm just going to sort of like drag through lines which will create the sort of shapes of the stones, sort of like how it is in the game, and I can connect some if I want some smaller shapes, but I don't want the lines to be too thick because that might not make it look as good. So I've sort of drawn my lines. Now, as you can see, I've accidentally already made this connect up, but now I can, if I want to, go through and sort of connect it all up here around the sides, and you can see in the background the tiling effect is happening there. So I can see how our block will tile in the actual game. So I did actually, it looks like a lot of diagonal lines there, so I might just redo that. So you can hold Alt to use your color picker. So I'm gonna draw some like curve. That was not curved. Draw some curved instead, I guess. Then that looks better. So then now I need to make sure that it kind of connects up again, and now I guess I can start adding some shading. So I'm actually gonna replace all of this with a slightly different color, which there's actually a simpler way to do. You go to Paint Bucket, make sure it chooses connected colors. You can just paint it all in. I guess I'll do a little bit of shading with like some, well, that's the same color as before, with like that. This is just a basic texture. Normally I'd go into a lot more effort when I'm making a texture, but for right now I'm just gonna do this. And I should add my darker shading as well, make this look like it's sort of connecting. Make sure to use the tiling to your advantage. I might actually do that. Now that we can at least pretend that it looks good, we can also look at the tiling. So if you hold shift and drag with your middle mouse, you can see it kind of looks okay enough. I might just add a bit more shading on like this part. So I'm going to select this and just add stuff. Okay, I think it looks a bit better. I think I definitely could have made it look way better though if I was putting in a lot more effort. But here's what it will look like in-game with its tiling. But now I can click the save button, and it's going to ask me where I want to save it. So if you still have this from the Windows R on your clipboard, which I don't, you can paste it in, then find where you need to put it, and save it as what you want to save it as. So, cobblestone. Now that's saved, let's reload our textures, and now find our cobblestone, and now we can place it down. You can sort of place it, I'll place it in the same way that I did in Blockbench. So you can sort of see, yep, it tiles just like it did. So there's one more thing, which might be a bit more advanced, but it's pretty useful. So since I changed TNT to say sub, maybe I want the text to say sub to match what it says on the TNT. So for that we need to go back to our Minecraft there on both of them and find lang. So this I'm just going to copy over, since it is only one file, and it'll be pretty useful. So you can open it, press Ctrl F and search for TNT, and there it is. So now I can make it say sub. Save it, reload our textures, and finally our TNT says sub. And a tip, if you use a texture pack and the item's names are changed and you want to see what the original name was, you press F3 and H. When you highlight over it, it'll say Minecraft TNT or whatever it was, which is pretty useful for if you have, like, for example, a really big resource pack and you change the name of something but you don't remember what its original name was, then you can search for it, find it, and remember, oh, it's that, and now I want to change the texture. So I'm just going to turn it off for now because it makes the game look a bit cleaner. Okay, so those are 3 ways that you can easily edit blocks, and also, I guess, the names of the blocks. But maybe you want to edit, like, Diamond Sword. It's very similar to making a block, where you just make item as your folder instead. I can go in, search for Diamond Sword, or just Diamond, and then scroll until I find it. Now you probably won't need to do any tiling for this, because it's an item. So I might just quickly make this into like an amethyst sword or something. Okay, so here is my amethyst sword texture. I'm going to save that, and I'm actually going to go to my language file again, find diamond underscore sword. It has to be an underscore if there's multiple, or you can search for that, I guess. But I'm going to call it amethyst sword. I can spell. So now I'm going to reload my textures, and now I have the amethyst sword. And now my dog's here. And it also says amethyst sword, but it's the diamond sword. So the final thing I'm going to show you today is entity textures. So maybe I want to change the pig to be something. So we're going to do the same thing, go into textures, new, folder, entity, and then find pig, which is actually a separate folder, and I'm just going to copy in the folder. Now it's a separate folder because you have the saddle and the pig. So the way I'm going to edit this texture, I'm going to go back to Blockbench, and I'm going to click Minecraft skin, create new model, search for pig, texture, optional. If you made like a texture like I did with the cobblestone before, then you won't have to paste it in, but you will if you're just doing it now. Entity, pig, confirm. And here's our pig. So I'm going to start by getting a nice color drop from the pig. So I'm going to get a nice gradient. As you can see, there's my gradient for the sword. So now we can, I guess, make the pig. So I'm just gonna make a really bad texture because I've been recording for like an hour just because the textures do take a while. So I'm actually gonna paint, element, there we go, and that as well. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to get a white, I'm still on the paint bucket. White, oh no, it's a Herobrine pig, some eyes, there we go. Now, I'm gonna get a darker color, give it some nostrils. This is like Minecraft simplified over here. Maybe give it some ears. There we go, that's some ears. There we go, we've got our perfect pig. So now I can click save, go back into Minecraft, and reload my textures. I just realized I forgot to add the tail, but that doesn't really matter. And wow, look at my amazing pig. If the pig will look at me, let me put a saddle on it, and get a carrot on a stick, and yay! Okay, normally I would put way more effort into it, but I put too much effort into the textures already. If I look straight down, the pig is just a flat color, there's no shading whatsoever. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this video. There'll be a link in the description to the playlist so you can see if there are any videos that you missed. But if you're watching this around the time that I release the video, there probably won't be. Hey look, it's a sunset. So make sure to subscribe and like and subscribe, do one of them. Oh yeah, this is a perfect... Ooh, I'm just gonna quickly do one more thing just for one funny joke, even though I've spent way too much time on this video already. Okay, I think I did it. Let's find out. The pig's leaving, that's good. Okay, no, I forgot to reload my textures. I can't believe it. I'm not even following my own tip. Okay, let's test it. Subscribe! That's the button you should click. Okay, I spent way too much time making that, so I hope that joke was worth a subscription, but If it wasn't, I guess I'll see you never. Bye!